All right, buckle up, folks. We are diving deep into a Champions League showdown that honestly left everyone speechless. Bayer Leverkusen absolutely dismantled RB Salzburg 5-0, 5 to nothing.
Yeah, a rout. Complete and utter domination.
We're dissecting the match report, trying to understand how it all went down and what it means for Leverkusen's chances this season. Because, let's face it, it's been a while since they've been a real contender in the UCL.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, think about it. They haven't even reached the knockout stage since, what was it, 2016-17?
Yep, that's right. So is this their year? Is this the season Leverkusen finally break through? Let's find out.
Let's.
One thing that really struck me reading this report was Leverkusen's mentality. I mean, they were coming off a pretty brutal loss to Liverpool.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one. It was rough.
One of their worst defeats in recent UCL history, actually. And to bounce back from that was such a, well, I mean, a crushing victory.
Dominating, yeah.
It says a lot about their resilience and, honestly, their ambition this season.
Well, they didn't let that Liverpool loss linger, that's for sure. I mean, talk about a statement performance.
Absolutely. And they came out swinging right from the first whistle. I mean, they were up 2-0 within the first 15 minutes. It was unreal.
You could tell right away they were determined to erase that memory, like wipe the slate clean and reassert themselves.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And that first goal, the penalty for handball, well, it was a little controversial maybe.
Yeah, it was a close call.
But hey, Wirtz stepped up and buried it with absolute ice in his veins.
Cool as a cucumber. That's what I like to see in a young player. Big game, big moment, no hesitation.
Exactly. And then just a few minutes later, Grimaldo he unleashed this free kick.
Oh, man, I'm getting chills just thinking about it.
Right into the top corner. No chance for the Salzburg keeper.
The keeper had absolutely no chance. It was like a rocket.
Just a stunning goal.
And, those early goals were huge for Leverkusen. And not just because they put them in the driver's seat, but for the psychological impact it had. It allowed them to just relax, play their game, dictate the tempo. Salzburg, on the other hand, they were on their heels from the get-go.
You're absolutely right. You could almost feel the momentum shift. Yeah. And speaking of momentum, we have to talk about Wirtz. He was just brilliant.
Yeah, Wirtz was on fire.
That solo goal he scored, weaving through defenders like they weren't even there.
It made them look like statues.
It was almost effortless, the way he just glided past them. But here's what's really impressive about him. It's not just the flashy plays.
Right.
It's his decision-making. He always seems to make the right choice, whether it's a pass, a shot, a dribble. And that's rare, especially for a player his age.
You can teach skill, but you can't teach that kind of instinct, that footballing IQ. And he's got it in spades.
And honestly, it could have been 4 or 5 to nothing at halftime. Leverkusen had a couple of other chances that just, went agonizingly wide, or the keeper made a great save. Salzburg were lucky to escape the first half, only down by 2.
Yeah, Salzburg, they looked, a bit lost, maybe even shell-shocked. And I think you have to factor in their recent form. They had lost their 2 previous matches coming into this game.
Yeah, that's true.
So they were already carrying the weight of that winless streak in the Champions League. And you could see it affecting their play.
It just didn't seem to have that spark.
Even with the substitutions, their manager trying to shake things up, they just couldn't find their rhythm. Their pressing, which is usually so aggressive and suffocating, it's practically non-existent.
Yeah, I guess you could say they just looked a bit, passive.
Passive's a good word for it. They let Leverkusen dictate the game, and you just can't do that against a team of that caliber.
That makes sense. But I do wonder, though, Salzburg's recent struggles, it makes you wonder if maybe, just maybe, this result isn't the best indicator of Leverkusen's true potential.
I see what you mean.
Because, let's be honest, Salzburg hasn't exactly been a formidable opponent lately.
That's fair. They're certainly not the Salzburg of, say, last season.
Right. And you have to factor in that this was at the Bay Arena, Leverkusen's home turf. And we know they're practically unbeatable at home.
Yeah, the Bay Arena. Talk about a fortress.
7 straight European matches unbeaten at home. That's a serious statement.
Home advantage definitely plays a role. The crowd, the familiarity, it all adds up. But, Leverkusen's tactical approach was spot on, too.
Yeah, for sure.
They really exploited the spaces Salzburg left open, especially out wide.
Yeah, those flanks were wide open.
And their counterattacking was, it was light and quick. Just brutal efficiency.
Yeah. Take Schick's goal, for example. Beautiful finish. Across from Frimpong.
Textbook counterattacking football. It was a clinic.
Clinical is the perfect word for it. And then Wirtz, not content with scoring a wonder goal himself, turns provider, setting up Garcia for an absolute thunderbolt.
Garcia's been in great form lately, and that goal was just the icing on the cake for Leverkusen. They weren't just winning, they were putting on a show.
A footballing masterclass.
Yeah.
And when you dive into the stats, that dominance becomes even more apparent. For example, did you know Leverkusen has never lost to an Austrian team in European competition?
Wow, really? I didn't know that. That's impressive.
Yeah. And that just shows their consistency over the years.
Yeah.
They just have this knack for getting results.
They know how to win, that's for sure. But here's a stat that really caught my eye. Since the start of last season, Leverkusen has actually outscored giants like Liverpool and Manchester City in European competition.
Wow, I did not realize that.
I know, right? It's wild.
Yeah.
That tells you they're not just winning, they're playing at an incredibly high level, scoring goals for fun against some of the best teams in Europe.
And you can't forget that they've won more games in major European competitions than any other team during that same period, excluding qualifiers. So it's not just a fluke.
No, it's not a fluke. It's a pattern.
It's a statement. They're a team on the rise.
They are a team to watch, that's for sure. But the question is, can they keep this up?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Can they maintain this level of play when the stakes get even higher? Because the knockout stages of the Champions League, well, those are a different beast altogether.
Right, that's where the real pressure comes in.
Facing the best of the best week in and week out. Can they overcome those challenges? Can they handle the pressure?
Only time will tell. But one thing's for certain. Leverkusen has announced their arrival. They're not just happy to be there. They're looking to make a real run. What do you think?
That's the question we want you, the listeners, to ponder. Can Leverkusen maintain this incredible form? Can they finally break through and reach the UCL knockout stages? What challenges do you think they might face along the way? We've given you the information. Now it's up to you to form your own conclusions. Until next time.
Keep thinking.